So, Councillor Jeffries.
Hey, thank you, Leader. And I would like to start firstly by saying this is quite a difficult area to deal with, because obviously people lay floral tributes at a time of really difficult time. Fatal collisions, people have lost their lives, so it is, I realise, to those residents that are affected by this a really important issue, and we have tried to handle this as sensitively as possible, and ensuring that people that are affected by this, that their consideration is taken into effect. So this policy statement is intended to be sensitive, like I said, to all those that are affected by such tragedies, the family, the friends of the victims, and also sometimes people that are forgotten, those that are living near the site of the tragedy who are affected by this. So I'd hope that residents would agree that this policy, which we've widely consulted on, is a fair, balanced and a sensitive approach. Whilst I'll leave it there, because I think the report says it all. We've tried to be as sensitive as possible, but it is an issue that's brought up by residents that live near these memorials, and I think we have to take their thoughts and consider those residents.
Absolutely. Councillor Mains, anything you want to add in relation to the highways aspects of this?
Yeah, thanks, Leader. I think Councillor Jeffries is right. It's not a nice subject, but it is something I think we have to do. I think we've all seen certain memorials at the roadside recently that seem to become bigger and bolder all the time, and unfortunately they're not the kind of things that remain in situ forever for a variety of reasons. I think just for some clarity, really, if you read in the report and the strategy itself, or the policy itself, it does very much talk about roadside memorials, and it gives the impression that it's only roadside memorials we're talking about. But the reason this has come in Councillor Jeffries' name and not mine is because, of course, it does actually relate to all council land. So I wouldn't want anybody reading this to think it's only at the roadside. It applies to our parks and our other green spaces as well. So it's not just a highways issue. But from a highways perspective, obviously I do support it. It's not the kind of thing that we can have permanently on the side of the road. It can be a distraction. It makes maintenance very difficult. So there are good reasons for doing this. But again, to be clear, this isn't just about roadside memorials. It's about memorials on all council-owned land. I don't think there's really much more I want to add to that. I think the reasons we're doing it are clear, really, that have to be done. And I think, as Councillor Jeffries said, there are people who, yes, of course, we want to be sensitive to those who are bereaved, but at the same time, there are people who don't want to see these, don't want to live near them, and I'll put my hand up, I wouldn't want it outside my house permanently. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and I think a limited period where you can lay a tribute is reasonable, but a permanent shrine-like memorial isn't the kind of thing we should be encouraging for a whole host of reasons.
Thank you. Councillor Jeffries.
I agree entirely with what Councillor Mains said, and I think what this policy will allow us to do is that when, and sadly these tragedies do happen, is to be able to talk to the families and friends, so that if they do want to do some sort of permanent memorial, it would be placed in an appropriate place that they will be able to visit on a regular basis, and not it, as in a lot of these cases, placed in what is actually a dangerous place, because that's why the fatal collision happened, because it is a dangerous place. So this policy, gives us the direction to be able to, help and support these families that have these bereavements.
Okay, anybody else want to put my closing remarks on? So, it really, we do have to be really clear. This is not banning these roadside memorials. It's about having it for an appropriate amount of time, liaising with the families of those that have been lost. And creating a policy that helps them safely commemorate the life of those that have been lost, whilst also making clear that this could easily be an accident black spot, and action needs to be taken, or whatever. So we've seen this up and down the country. I think it's the white bikes, or those bikes memorials in London, with local authorities saying, they can't stay there forever, and it is a distraction, and those that lost their friends saying this is actually a permanent reminder of this is a problem. I think this cuts a very fine balance on a very, very, very delicate subject. You know, we have seen a number of them spring up across the borough. On our land, this obviously doesn't apply to private land at all, and we do need to sort of properly maintain all the highway for everybody to make sure that further accidents don't occur. And as I say, you know, this isn't a ban on this. This is about having it properly managed and proper liaison between the council and those that have lost family members or friends in these accidents. Councillor Maynard?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that really. I mean, I think really this isn't so much a new policy, truth be told. We've had a policy for a long time. I remember the formal one being passed, and it was very much like this. So it's not like we're suddenly, you know, clamping down on something or doing something new. It's really just refreshing what we already had. Unfortunately, perhaps we haven't been the best at applying that policy for some time, and I think we're just really dusting off what we already had and saying it's time to start looking at applying this really. So it's not a new policy. We had one before and it was very much the same as this. So we're not really doing something we haven't done before. It's just time to start, you know, looking at doing it because circumstances mean that we now need to.
But I think perhaps a clearer distinction is the way that we will engage with those that have laid in memorials or have lost their relatives in that. It's not just come and scoop it up, throw it in the back of a dust cart and off we go. There needs to be a huge level of respect for, you know, the memories of those that have died at these, you know, instances. And I think that is really quite clear in here. So I'd like to thank the pair of you for making sure that, you know, we're not just thinking about ourselves, we are also thinking about those that we really should be thinking about as those that have lost relatives at these accident spots. So if there's nothing else to add, we do have the recommendation at 1.1 on page 213 that we approve the adoption of this new policy. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Excellent. So that